Please save our people. Another dozen of people and maybe hundreds of people might be murdered tonight.
Emotional pleas from a Ukraine parliament member tonight. Russia began its assault on Ukraine with air and missile strikes, including ground troops invading from Crimea.
You are taking a live look right now at Kyiv. It is about 3 in the morning there, their time right now. Ukraine's leadership is calling this a full-scale war. Right now, the city is quiet as the city's mayor just ordered an overnight curfew. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for KREM News at 5. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
And I'm Whitney Ward. U.S. defense officials are calling this the initial phase of Russia's assault on Ukraine.
What are believed to be Russian helicopters are circling the Ukraine capital. U.S. officials say Russia has fired roughly 160 missiles targeting Ukraine's military infrastructure and highly populated residential areas.
Now, the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken today saying that evidence does suggest Russia has developed plans to, quote, inflict widespread human rights abuses and potentially worse on the Ukrainian people. He didn't elaborate exactly on what that evidence was. Earlier today, President Biden announced strong sanctions on Russia and limitation on exports as he condemned President Vladimir Putin.
This is going to impose severe cost on the Russian economy, both immediately and over time. We have purposely designed these sanctions to maximize the long-term impact on Russia and to minimize the impact on the United States and our allies.
President Biden made another clear point today. U.S. troops will not be sent to Ukraine to take part in this crisis. However, thousands of U.S. troops are positioned in nearby NATO member countries. U.S. forces in Poland have set up camps to begin receiving refugees.
In the meantime, this is in Russia. Anti-war protests have now taken place in 40 different Russian cities. Russian police arrested at least 1,000 Russian citizens who were protesting Putin's decision to invade. All around the world, rallies are also taking place in support of Ukraine, having from Madrid to New York to Rome. Plenty of strong support worldwide for Ukraine. Now, this is a crisis, of course, that goes far beyond the Ukrainian borders.
Here in the inland Northwest, many with ties back to Ukraine are watching closely and waiting for news from loved ones. KREM 2's Cody Proctor spoke with one woman who came to the U.S. as a teenager from Ukraine. She is joining us live now with more on what she had to say. Cody?
Well, Mark and Whitney, Ina Mayorv is the owner of the Yummy Snobby European food and a deli store on Sprague. And it is a store specializing in food from Europe, particularly from Germany, Russia, and Ukraine. Now, she came to the United States and to Spokane when she was about 16 years old back in 1998, but she still has loved ones in Ukraine. Since the attacks from Russia began, she has been hearing from them and says right now they are okay, but admits it's been hard for her to see what's happening in her home country unfolding thousands of miles away.
It's hard. It just you want to be with them, you want to hug them, you want to tell them, no, it's going to be all right, it's going to stop soon. It's it's not going to last for long. But then you remember 2014, where it lasted for a very long time. A lot of people got killed. A lot of people lost their houses.
Now, Mayorv says a large portion of her customers are Slavic, with many from both Ukraine and Russia. Now, she says even what is happening in Ukraine, she doesn't want there to be any division in Spokane's Slavic community. She also says if you do have friends that are impacted by what is happening in Ukraine, talk to them as a way to show support for them. Reporting it live in Spokane, Cody Proctor, KREM 2 News.
Cody, thank you very much. And the U.S. government is now on high alert for the possibility of this conflict spilling over into cyberspace, where in the past, Russia has been able to cause disruption and damage.
U.S. businesses and local governments are being warned to be extra vigilant against ransomware attacks now. For example, suspected Russian hackers were linked to the SolarWinds hack back in 2020 that forced a shutdown of one of America's largest fuel pipelines for several days. Today, we reached out to Mark Newfill, a cybersecurity instructor at Spokane Falls Community College, for his insights on risks and concerns.
I think the biggest thing for nation states are disruption and creating a sense of fear and panic. That's where the concern may be.
Well, it's impossible to predict what may happen, of course, but cybersecurity experts say it is important for the public and private sector to be prepared and remain vigilant. So for individuals, that includes things like using two-factor authentication.
So what are the new sanctions that President Biden announced? Well, the sanctions block the assets of 4 large Russian banks, impose export controls, and sanction oligarchs. Biden also says the U.S. will deploy additional forces to Germany and bolster NATO. For now, the president has held off on imposing some of the most severe sanctions.
Now, this is a rapidly developing situation. Things, of course, changing every minute right now. But for the very latest as it stands now on this assault on Ukraine, just text the word crisis to 509-448-2000. We'll send that link to your phone.
We are tracking some breaking news at this hour on a KREM 2 investigation. And now looks as though Spokane Shock games will not take place this year at the Spokane Arena.
We have just learned team owner Sam Adams had, of course, until 5 p.m. to submit that $128,000 security bond to secure the upcoming season. And again, we have confirmed that proof of collateral was not provided to the Public Facilities District in time, which means the Shock contract is now terminated. The deadline was actually yesterday at 5 p.m., but it got extended at the very last minute by 1 more day after there was a miscommunication between Adams and the PFD about the timeline. The Indoor Football League season officially starts on March 12th. Now, it's unclear if the Shock will be able to have a season at all here in Spokane. All of this following our extensive investigation last week, which revealed a history of Adams' delayed payments and defaults throughout all of last season. It's why this year the district required costs to be paid in advance. Now, when I spoke with the IFL commissioner last week, he told me it's unprecedented to be this late into the season and still not have a lease in place. He also said, based on our investigation here at KREM 2, the league then opened its own investigation into the Shock and team owner Sam Adams. We did reach out to Sam Adams again today for a response. We have not heard back. Again, that 5 o'clock deadline has just passed. That $128,000 bond was not received by the PFD. That Shock contract to play at the arena this season is terminated. We will continue to follow all of these developments. It's now again unclear how the Shock could move forward with the season and where they could possibly play. We'll have a complete breakdown coming up tonight on KREM 2 News at 6 as well. But if you would like to see our entire Shock investigation, right now you can go to KREM.com or use the keyword Shock. Send that to 509-448-2000. We'll send the link to your phone. Right now, though, KREM 2 Sports Director Brenna Green is joining us as we talk about kind of the next steps. The chances of a Spokane Shock actually being able to be possible at some point seems dimmer and dimmer at this point.
Yeah, just into our newsroom, the Spokane Shock's agreement with the IFL has been terminated per the league, so they are no longer a member of the Indoor Football League. Wow. And that was just tweeted by the Indoor Football League. So very, very much a confirmation there that they are no longer with that league. Now, as we continue on here, there are some next steps that are possible. They could try to apply to be a part of the NAL league. That is going to be a very difficult climb this late into the season. And of course, there's also a lot of questions in terms of that. And also, there is just, for players, this is a whole other situation. They agreed to a contract to play for an IFL team, not an NAL team. So there could be a situation where all the players are let go. I don't see how it would be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting to watch how this all plays out, even if the NAL lets the Shock into their league. But right now, these Shock players don't have a place to play.
And they also just had open tryouts on Friday. As we know, the owner and the staff there were trying to build their team roster, but obviously this now throws everything into upheaval.
Quick question for you, Brenna. Okay, so they can't play at the Spokane Arena the upcoming season. Are there any other potential venues where they could play an indoor football, indoor football?
Yeah. The only other place that I can see is the Kibbe Dome. That is in Moscow, so obviously that's a huge drawback in terms of fan attendance.
Sure.
There's no other indoor arenas in Spokane that I believe are big enough to house a football team. Obviously, Gonzaga is the only one that really comes to mind. I don't believe their court is big enough to put a football team there, and of course that would also mean that Gonzaga would have to agree to let them play in their facility this summer when they have so many basketball camps there, basketball practices there, things like that.
Right. All right. Well, again, to see our entire KREM 2 investigation into the Shock organization, including past season ticket holders who say they're still owed money from the 2020 season that was canceled due to COVID, just text the word SHOCK to 509-448-2000. We'll send that link directly to your phone. A lot going on today. My goodness. All right, we have more coming up tonight at KREM 2 at 6, by the way. Switching gears to weather in the meantime, we picked up some light snow today across the area, but the majority of the day was filled with sunshine.
We like that. Definitely a nice break from what we have been seeing. Chief Meteorologist Tom Sherry joining us now. So, Tom, do you think we're done with the snow at least?
Yeah, I think we may get a chance of it on Sunday, but it would be mixing in with rain. You're going to see much warmer weather ahead Sunday through next week. So I think next week is kind of wet, but I think it's more rain than, say, snow, or if it is snow, it won't last long. Still cold, though, at 23 degrees, but that sun setting out on Lake Coeur d'Alene is absolutely beautiful. We still have some snow that has been hanging around for really since about noontime down in towards the Walla Walla area. So just light snow down there. You can see the satellite picture shows that still clear skies across most of Washington into North Idaho. We're looking for some cold overnight lows, though, down to 13 tonight, 15 Saturday morning, but Saturday, sunshine and a high of 41. So there you go. And then a chance of some wet weather, maybe a rain-snow mix or just rain. We'll look for a daytime high of 39 degrees. It gets even warmer next week. I have my 7-day forecast for you coming right up.
Looking forward to that, Tom. Thank you very much. All right, still to come tonight, we are learning more about what led up to the murder of a woman in Brown's Edition. What happened in court today is coming up next.